All right, welcome back to the iVue Robotics YouTube channel. Have Pranav here with me, as well as a Developer Micro out here. I think going to take its fourth flight if successful. Hopefully its first successful, completely successful automated flight, as you might have seen in our last video where we attempted the flight of the Developer Micro. It took off as part of an automated flight using the iVue RC app, but then got blown away in the windy conditions. So we've made a couple updates to the hardware design. Do you want to talk about any of those? No? All right, well, we made some updates to the side plates we can show off, assuming we land in one piece afterwards. And then I think there was a minor structural change to the landing gear. Is that correct? Or we just increased the infill of the landing gear legs?
We changed the battery mount.
We changed the battery mount, so we reinforced the back, a stronger back for Developer Micro that's no longer going to get blown out, hopefully speaking. And anything else? I think that was Velcro. No, just the one Velcro strap still on the front. Again, stronger back end on Developer Micro. A much bigger, thicker back end. Any case, let's go ahead and plug in the radio and see if this Developer Micro is going to cooperate as it should. Oh, I guess one of the other updates, now we actually have cutouts for the USB-C connector that's not currently installed, as well as the power connector, which is currently installed. And if you couldn't tell, it's an XT30 power connector. So fairly standard. All right. Doot, doot. Much better than my typical sound effects, so be happy it's not as bad as it could be. And we're on the very, very edge of our workshop office property, so the UI is going to take a little while to load, longer than typical. All right, we only have 5 satellites here. Another bad part about using outside of our workshop here, there's a lot of electrical vehicle charging equipment and power lines, and so there's just quite a bit of interference we're going to have to work around. It's almost like we should have gotten permission to fly at the flight test field we were using previously, but you know, the entrepreneur way, asking for forgiveness instead of permission. Never goes wrong. All right, we are up to 8 satellites. We still do not have the correct battery percentage showing for the Developer Micro because we really only have the UI to support our current Developer models, which all run from a 4-cell battery, or in the case of the Developer HP, uses a 6-cell. We have 10 satellites. If I were, you know, smarter than I am, I would actually go ahead and use QGroundControl to verify we're not getting any warning messages, but we're going to try and take off anyway and see how this Developer Micro performs. Pranav, just be ready to move, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to fly drone, arm and fly, and Developer Micro should just take off and hover at 10 feet off the ground. And nothing. All right, back to me, and we'll switch over to QGroundControl. So I bet we have some sort of magnetic interference problem or compass calibration problem. And this was all swapped over to a new fuselage, right? So yeah, a lot of the components got moved around. That's fairly typical. And again, this is just not the greatest test flight environment by any stretch of the imagination. But our local drone park closes at 5 p.m. There's other local parks around here, but time is of the essence. All right, it looks like we're ready to fly with 14 satellites in QGroundControl, 17 satellites now, so maybe if we just gave it a little bit more time in the iVue RC app, we would have been fine. Now we're having an issue connecting in the iVue RC app. I'm just refreshing to see if that does the trick. I'm going to reset our USB COM port permissions for the web browser, and we're going to have to reload the page again. Connect. All right, we're not getting any of the satellite or battery information, but we're going to try again, even though we don't have all the information we should have. Arming and flying, or attempting to. Nope. I wonder if this is to do with us having not a great internet connection. Theoretically, we shouldn't need an internet connection. However, let's try taking off the same way in QGroundControl. And if we can't take off in QGroundControl, we should at least get a little bit more information as to why. Now, I wouldn't be surprised maybe if it's due to not meeting the minimum arming voltage threshold. I don't know if that was set up for this developer micro yet. I guess we can take a look. Low voltage threshold. Critical voltage. I don't see an arming voltage threshold. But let's just try taking off to 10 feet in QGroundControl. Armed. And land. And land, and land, and land. Okay, wow, so in land flight mode, it stabilizes really well. So I don't know what exactly is causing said issue where it's not even just rotating, it's orbiting. I think that's probably something to do with a compass calibration issue. Let's go ahead and try calibrating the compass and see if that helps at all. So yeah, we do have a magnetic field warning. Vehicle configuration, sensors, compass. Do you want to do the rotation, or do you want to give me updates from the screen here and start it?
Yeah, I'll start.
All right. Go ahead and hit OK.
Yeah.
And if you can, just give me updates when I'm about 25%, 50%, 100%.
You're at 25. You're at 50. 75. And then you're good. Yeah.
All right. And are we in the green, yellow?
We're in the green.
Huh. All right. And we're going to go to parameters, tools, reboot. We're going to see QGroundControl crash on us because it's just the greatest open source software. Not the greatest software, because that's the iVue RC app, at least as far as drone control software. No, it's just the greatest software. Right, Pranav? Off the top of your head, name like 18 better pieces of software. Actually, that's probably not enough. You could probably name 18 better pieces of software. All right. We have connection to 19 satellites and should have more than enough battery life again to give this a hover test, an automated hover test. Let's go ahead and select fly drone, arm and fly, take off to 10 feet. And nothing. All right, let me go ahead and try fly, arm and fly, launch. Nope. Oh. Here we go, here we go, here we go. All right, I'm putting it in loiter mode. And look at that. So it was just a compass calibration issue. Nice.
Nice.
You knew that, right, Pranav?
Yeah.
All right, so forward and backwards is reverse. That's just a parameter that we'll have to swap, no big deal. But that is nice stable flight, automated flight for Developer Micro. So we now have controller flight and loiter flight mode is what you're seeing now. You want to just give that a go just to say you did, and Pranav did, you know, most of the heavy lifting here getting Developer Micro off the ground. So a little bit more refinement to do before it's product ready, but I mean, as far as flight performance goes, I think that's fine. Now, of course, we definitely want to sort out that compass calibration issue for future units, but I think we probably just had a bad compass calibration left over from the last time this was built out, this Developer Micro was built out. All right, so now just to verify a waypoint mission will work with Developer Micro, I'm going to zoom into our position on the map. Oops. I meant to hit the plus to add a waypoint, not the plus to zoom in. And it's going to just be a very simple, short waypoint. We'll fly it up to 15 feet. Upload mission to drone. It's uploaded. And we should be able to start the waypoint mission in flight as we've done with larger developer models. Start waypoint mission. So it climbed up more, definitely it's much higher than 15 feet. So that's something that we're going to want to update, Mohit. If we're starting waypoint missions in air, it looks like it's taking the current altitude and then climbing from said current altitude. Now I'm going to put the micro back into loiter flight mode. Bring it back closer to Pranav and I. Remembering that the forward and backwards pitch controls are reversed. All right, and one other update that I did not cover previously in the last video that was already made ahead of filming this video. If you go to the drone settings menu, now we have the ability for you to view the firmware version that's loaded on your developer as well. So that'll work across any developer model, and this is just kind of a stepping stone as we're working out profiles for each of the developer models in the iVue RC app. But anything else that you would like to see, Pranav? I think this is about as good as it gets for Developer Micro for the time being. So I guess thanks for watching. You'll catch us in the next one. Maybe not with more updates to Developer Micro in the next one, but more updates to other developer models as well as the iVue RC app. So again, thanks for watching. Stay tuned and peace.